Hello everybody, my name is Wendy Fore from Cash Life Mastery. I'm a business and marketing mentor, and Cash Life Mastery is helping network marketers build and grow their businesses daily. So today guys, you are joining us on our newest edition of Breaking Barriers in Business. So let's get to it. Everybody, my name is Wendy Fore from Cash Life Mastery, and today guys, you are joining us on our Breaking Barriers in Business Mastermind with my co-host Chris Kirkpatrick. And today guys, we are going to be talking about how to get your network to equal your net worth. This is a very important topic, guys. A lot of it is mindset. A lot of it is how you view your business also. You know, what importance are you putting on your business? So today, guys, I would like to introduce you to Chris again and let him tell you who he is and what he does, and then we'll get right into the subject.
Hey guys, so my name is Chris Kirkpatrick. If you guys haven't been following me on social media, you can find me facebook.com/SafeBetMoneyGuy. I'm on Periscope at Chris_Kirkpatrick, and I do all sorts of broadcasts all the time. This is actually one of my favorite topics to talk about because a lot of the stuff that I do really speaks to the point of helping people around their money, how to structure their lives financially, how to position themselves, how to create money, how to have a kind of a different mindset, a different perspective on what you need to do with your money and with your time and with your network, and just kind of your overall mindset and frame of mind to get to where you want to go. Because the reality, if you look out there, 95% of the people in this world are not, especially in this country, I can say specifically in the United States, are not getting the results that they want in life. And it's interesting that with those statistics and with 95% of the people not achieving the results that they want in life, it's still, for some reason, the rest of the people, the rest of the 95% are there following along and just kind of like being the sheep following the herd. You know, it's funny. It's that story, Wendy, about the sheep. It only takes 5% of the sheep to start going a certain direction, and then the rest of them just follow for no reason whatsoever, right?
Exactly.
And so it's so funny. I actually read this article on this. Like, it's so funny how much like sheep we genuinely are, and that's why that expression is what it is. And so what today I think is really about is how to increase your network to increase your net worth, because that's a really popular kind of catchphrase at this point in time, maybe a little overused in certain circumstances, but
Yeah.
It is what it is. But the bottom line is, it's so true, because it's so funny, because my dad, I'm at their house right now, because I'm having so many internet issues being on the road and in Vermont. So just stopped into my parents' house, figuring, nice setting, be good to do this video here. And my dad was home, and I'm talking to him, and of course he's 62, and he's got his way of doing things, and it's very pertinent to this, because it's so funny. I was talking to him about this stuff because he's like, hey, listen, I've done things a certain way. This is just what it is. And I'm like, Dad, I don't think you guys are you got to look at things a little differently. And he's like, well, whatever. This is just what. And it's so funny.
Isn't it funny how your parents are always your parents, and they always know better than you?
Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. And so, he just left, so I could say that now. I'm just joking. So but it really comes down to this: is the way things have been done over the last 40, 50 years is not the way things work from here moving forward, right? The market is cyclical. The world is cyclical. What works now is not going to work 20 years from now, and what worked 20 years ago is not working right now, and that's never going to change. It's always going to be evolving, and we have to make sure we try to keep up with that as much as possible. Keep up with what is working currently, and right now.
And if you're a new person coming into online marketing, any type of online sales, even if you have a retail store and you're trying to get your store online, you have to realize that it is something that this is a learned process.
Totally.
It's not something that you just jump in and, oh my God, you can find out overnight. This is a learned process. You have to figure out what's most important in your business, what steps you're going to have to take, and then you have to implement,
Yeah. Well, it's that old, if anybody ever tells you, that you can make a lot of money really quickly with very little effort or work or time or whatever, run as fast as you can, because
liar, pants on fire.
It is what it is. So, with this, it all comes down to this, is the way the economy has worked and the mindset of people. It used to be people, it was the 40-40-40 plan, right? Work 40 hours a week for 40 years and get a pension and whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember. But
what's a pension? Does it even exist anymore?
Well, the people in San Bernardino, California right now are really learning that doesn't even matter. I mean, all the people that had pensions with the state and the city there are losing their pension because they just went bankrupt and the pension went to zero. So people that work for 30 years, literally just thinking they were about to hit retirement, and that not only they just get laid off and lose their job, but they lost their pension at the same time. Like, it's crazy to think about.
I don't even know if I could handle that, Chris.
I think I might just go crazy. Like, it's nuts. But, so I look at that and I go, okay, what is it now? And it's like anything else. Is I think the biggest thing, we're in the new year now, and we, I hopefully if you're watching this, you're trying to set some goals, or you've already set some goals, and right now you're trying to be like, or you're thinking at least, how am I going to accomplish this stuff? How am I going to smash these goals? How am I going to make it happen as quickly as possible? And how do I stay plugged into those goals? How do I keep those goals in the front of my mind, in front of me all the time? Because the reality is 95% of New Year's resolutions are given up on within 15 days. By January 15th, 95% of New Year's resolutions are going to just be tossed aside.
And that's even if people made a resolution. But I'm going to say one thing about what we're talking about today, guys. It is all about who you know, who you hang out with, and who you actually stay connected to and follow their plan. There's so many people out there that are giving mentorship, business advice, business coaching. And that's, for me, Chris, I don't know. I literally have coaching clients. I know you do a lot of coaching, but I actually have one-on-one coaching clients that I work with. And it's so frustrating when you give them advice and you tell them the plan, and then they want to veer off the plan. Just like your dad was saying, your plan is not his plan.
Oh my God.
You got to have that roadmap and that blueprint. And that's what we're talking about today, is getting that blueprint in place.
And here's what I'll say to that, Wendy, is everybody should have a mentor. I know we talked about this a little bit before. You have mentors. I have mentors. Like, to me, I think it's important to, well, put it this way. My definition of success and your definition of success, Wendy, may be pretty similar, right? There's probably some differences, but if we were to really sit down for a couple hours and really just like map out what success meant for me and what success meant for you, there's probably going to be a lot of overlapping, but there's going to be some differences. Fair enough?
Absolutely.
And so the key to this is if you want to be successful, it's not going to necessarily work to just like sit and listen to me or Wendy, or listen to a Brendan Burchard or a Grant Cardone or any of these people. I don't care who it is. The biggest thing is you need to go out and figure out, first and foremost, you need to learn how to define or figure out, what does success even mean to you? Because I think there are too many people that fall into this this trap where there's so many people out there with so much information, a lot of good, some bad, but even the good information, I say this all the time when I do financial coaching, what's good for one person isn't good for another. So to give all this kind of broad spectrum information on the way to do things, well, it's not necessarily the way for you to do things. And there can be a lot of consequences behind that. If you go and follow somebody's advice, somebody who's like, here, I'm going to teach you how to make $1 million a year, but then you find out that, that person is making $1 million a year, and that's the only thing you looked at. But and so you start following that person, and then before you know it, you realize that that person, yeah, they're making $1 million a year, but they're not ethical. They're married, but then they're divorced because they had multiple affairs on their wife or their husband, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're not living their life the way that you want to live yours. And so now you're following this person's advice, and it hits a point where you have to sell out. Now, I've been in that situation before and I say that not to call you out, but I can tell you I've lived that. I've lived that from a personal perspective where when I got into the business world, I was working with a gentleman who had the life that I thought I wanted. You look from the outside, the big house, the nice cars, the wife, the kids, it all looks so awesome from the outside. And then as I started working with him and mentoring with him, and he started coaching me how to get to that level of success, I started hearing, okay, this is, I started feeling, I should say, that this wasn't really in alignment with what I was willing to do to get to where he was. You know what I mean?
You really have to know your own personal goals. And that's one of the things that I really want to dive deep with my clients is, somebody's goal might be to earn an extra $500 a month. And that's all they're happy with that. And the next person's goal might be they need $5,000 a month because they don't want to work their job anymore. Everybody has a different goal, and everybody needs to achieve it in a different way. And if the things that you're telling somebody for their blueprint are not lining up for their goals, it's not going to happen. They're not going to be able to follow it. And like you say, if they're out there listening to somebody who's unethical and you find out things like that, then that just really puts a bad light on the industry as a whole.
Totally.
And I hate that when that happens.
Well, and it's scary too, because the life coaching industry is one of the fastest growing industries in the world, which is scary because the economy is not doing that great. I know it looks like it's good when you look at the stock market, but the real health of the economy and the growth of the economy is not that good. And people are underemployed right now. And I think a lot of people are getting into that because they're like, I don't know what else to do, and I know I want to help people. So I think they get into it with a good heart, but there's not a lot of fruit on the tree, and it's just, so, I mean, I don't want to beat that horse dead, but I think it's really, as we get into this a little bit, it's really important to just understand whoever you're working with, make sure that, you have your own definition of what success means to you, because you can't really go out and find somebody to mentor with, somebody to surround yourself with, right? You have to know what you stand for before you figure out who you're spending your time with. And then you have to be relentless and uncompromising in your values. That's hard. That is the hardest thing maybe when you go through that transition of mediocrity towards greatness, or, complacency, if you will, towards greatness, because, I don't like the word mediocre, because I think if you're striving, your results may not be where you want them at the moment, but as you make that transition to, make these decisions, every decision that we make in life really leads towards a result, right? I mean, we have, you make a decision, you have a thought, you make a decision, you take an action based on that decision, and it creates a result, which the accumulation of those results lead to your life. And that's just where you are.
And it's all about really truly committing, just like you and I have committed to this live stream. We've already just in our first week had some, hurdles to jump over, things that we didn't think of initially, but we've still committed and we're working around it. So, if you're going to set those goals, you have to be committed to them, your personal commitment to yourself, not to other people. It has to be to yourself, because if you can't stay committed to what you want for your own self, then you're never going to be committed to what you're supposed to do for other people.
Well, I'm gonna add to that too, and say that if you are having trouble staying committed to something, you're committed to the wrong thing. Because, we talked about this a bit. I think it was a couple days ago now. You know, when you start doing all these streams, they all kind of blend together. We talked about this a little bit the other day, is like your why has to be something that's pulling you, right? It's got to be pulling you with it, where, you know, you're never going to be perfect. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, you know, we had technical issues yesterday. We missed, like, whatever. It is what it is. It happened. But now we're back on the horse again today, and we're going to make up for it, you know, and like, whatever. But the bottom line is your why, your reason, whatever's driving you to do what you're doing, is got to be pulling you along with it, right? You don't want to have to be pushing forward and putting your head down and just trying to grit and grind and bear through your way through it, because that self-determination only lasts for so long. Eventually, we're weak. We just are, right? I mean, if nothing drives us and inspires us more than something inspiring us, like a why. Our why, for me, it's my family, my kids, wanting to provide a better life for them. And, you know, and I mean, there's a lot to that. I don't want to get all into that, but that, for me, it only takes every single day I wake up, or every night when my boy's crying, and every morning when he wakes me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, like when I want to still sleep after I went to bed at 1 a.m., you know, that kind of stuff. Like, still, that's my why, like knowing, just, you know, looking in their eyes and, you know, picking my 2-year-old up and having them in bed, and just like, I don't know how to put it into words. And that's the point. You feel it. It's an emotional thing. And it's like, I don't have to think about it. It comes. It's pulling. Like, there's no thinking.
It just is. Yeah.
Just is, you know, and you need to find whatever that is for you to really pull you towards your goals, right? And that's huge. So,
and with that said, you know, when you set those goals, you have to start finding people that are in alignment with those goals, guys, because people that you are around in your life are not aligning with your own personal goals and your own commitments, what's going to happen is you're going to let their negative thoughts feed into your own brain. And then all of a sudden you're thinking, well, maybe they're right and I'm wrong. You stop believing in yourself. And this is where everything starts to fall apart. True, Chris?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what they always say, I mean, and I've heard different numbers, it's 5 or 7, but your income is going to be the average income of the 5 to 7 people you spend most of your time with, right? And I've met 3 people this week alone that are looking to make more of their life, right? That are looking to kind of take their life to the next level. And that's what 2017 is all about for them. And all 3 of them have said the same thing to me. And that is, you know what? I'm doing this. I've been on this kind of growth process over the last couple of years. And in that growth process, I've gotten a lot of flack and a lot of kickback recently. The bigger and better I become for myself, right? And the more I want to do, they're all saying that they're starting to get more kickback and negative feedback from their friends and their family, and the people closest to them, with a lot of the response being like, well, who are you to do this? You're just Joe, you know, like who are you to this? Who are you to that? And whatever. And so all of them are, you know, my response to that is like, hey, listen, if you have big minded ideas and really impactful things that you want to do, you got to stop surrounding yourself with small minded people. And
it's kind of like in my situation, when I first started this, you know, 2 of my kids live outside of the house. And then of course I have the teenager here at home. So the 2 that are outside of the house are just like, you know, you're just mom. You know, what are you doing? How come you got more friends on social media than I do? You know, and they didn't understand it. But the one that's here at home, she has an entrepreneurial mindset, and she's actually starting her own business, and we're coaching her in that. And, you know, it's just been amazing the difference of the talk that I can have with my youngest child versus my 2 older ones. And then I like the friends in the family that, you know, they don't really get what I'm doing. And it's like, you know, what do you do with those people? Because they're your family, you know. You can't just not be around them anymore, or not talk to them, or you can't just say, yeah, okay, well, you don't agree with me, so bye. You have to sit down and have those personal conversations that, you know, it's like this. I love you. you're my family, you're my friend, you always will be. But this is something that's very important to me, and this is something that I have to focus on. It's for my future. You know, I know you think I'm going to fail, but if I do, I hope you'll still be there, you know, as my friend to support me when that day comes. But I'm going to promise you that you're never going to see that day.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
that's basically how I have addressed it with anybody in my friend and family circle that has given me slack. And it basically shut them up, you know, because you don't need to hear that constant beat down, you know, of negative thoughts and feelings about what you're doing, because it will beat you down.
Well, and the bottom line is you're not going to fail. If you're watching this and you're thinking like, wow, I'm scared of failing, you're not going to fail unless you make the decision to fail. You know, you either make the decision to succeed or you make it to fail, because if you make the decision to succeed, that means you're not giving up until you succeed.
Well,
you know,
you know,
no matter
the only way you can really truly fail is not to try.
Right. Is to give up.
You know, anything else that you do that doesn't work out is just a learning process. You know, it's not a mistake. It was actually something that you needed to go through to learn something, so 100%. You can do something better later.
Well, you know what? And Tony Robbins says this the best. I haven't heard anybody say this succinctly or whatever as he has, and as I heard from him. And he basically says, if you want to be happy in life, you know, I think most people think it's either money or success or some kind of material thing or a relationship thing or whatever, but it's not. Like, if you want to be truly happy, what we need is progress, like period. People, to be happy in life, all we need is progress in life. That means wherever you are right now, I don't care if you're like down in the dumps, you know, just homeless, or if you're making $10 million a year, you need progress, because nobody deals well with regression. You're either growing or you're dying. And emotionally, spiritually, well, everything. That's just built into our DNA as human beings. If we're not growing, we're dying, or we feel like we're dying. And you can intentionally grow. You have to make the decision to intentionally grow. And to me, that comes down to, okay, so now the title of this is how to increase your network to increase your net worth, right? Or something of that nature. Is that what we titled this?
How to build a network to increase your net worth.
Okay, there you go. Okay. So as we're talking about it in the context of the title of this broadcast, it's all about, okay, you have to be very, very intentional about what your decisions are to increase your net worth, because this is the new day and age. It's not like our parents' generation or my parents' generation, or, you know, actually a lot of, you know, if you're 55 plus, most people in that generation, especially even 45 plus, are dealing with the old paradigm of the way things work. Nowadays, it's how do you increase your network, because it's a relationship world, it's a community-based world, and your ability to connect with people is really going to be tied into your ability to create the life that you love.
And you know, a lot of the older people, this is what I find, especially with a lot of my clients. If they're older, they're not as internet savvy just because they haven't grown up in that world. You know, they're still learning. And of course, nowadays things come out so new, so fast, you know, and it's just not their mindset. So they've already got that little curve to get over. But, you know, if you're older, you've typically been in the mindset that your friends are people that you actually go to dinner with, or you go to the movies, or you get together, that kind of thing. But in today's world, your friends are online, you know, a lot, doing one-on-one Zooms and Skypes, and getting to know them through Facebook and social media. And you can form close connections with people like that. I mean, it's just like Chris and I, we got introduced through a personal friend of mine, and Chris and I just kind of hit it off. It was online, it was live. When I met him, and we started talking offline, and you know, we've been friends for 1.5 years, and we call each other and we do Zooms together, and it's truly a relationship, a friendship, but we've never met in person.
Nope. But yeah, and the reality is what you put in comes out, right? I mean, that's Grow Rich. What you put in your mind is going to come out the other side. And the bottom line with this is, you know, how do you, I guess the question is, how do you build your network, right? What are the things that you need to focus on? And it's really, really simple. I mean, it really is. Wendy just hit it right out of the park. I mean, it's find people. If the people in your life aren't having the results that you want in your life, I'm not saying you have to cast them aside. Wendy said it well. You're not going to be mean to them. You're not going to be, dismissive of them, but you just let them know you're going to kind of love them from afar a little bit more. It's going to be, it's going to,
I love you.
I love you, but I'm going to be over here, so I mean, it literally, that's it. Because if you want to achieve success, like I said, 5 to 7 people, your income is going to be the average of those people that you spend the most of your time with. Now, at first, what does that mean? It means spend time in a book, getting your head right, really start programming yourself, read a book a month, read a book a week or 2 weeks or whatever, a couple books a month if you can. Really commit to that. Really commit yourself to, like I said, I think the first and foremost thing you need to do is start with the end in mind. You need to figure out what is success to you. I mean, that is number one. What is success to you?
First key.
Is that
second? And then find those people who absolutely align with your goals. And, they don't have to be in the same business as you guys. That you could have a retail store that you're working online to sell things. And then somebody that you connect with is totally online with a different type of product or service. But you guys have the mentality of you want to sell things online, you want to grow your business, you're going to be using some of the same platforms and tools and services. Yep. Because I'm going to tell you what, guys, through making friends online, I have met some of the most wonderful people, and when I have gotten stuck, I can pick up the telephone or type to them on social media and say, hey, I have this problem. I need help. Call me. Tell me what to do. Zoom with me. Yeah. And it is amazing how forming friendships with people with the same mindset as you will, propel your business forward, because time is money. And, when everybody's going to hit that wall. And I know Chris and I have both been there. We can't lie and say we haven't. There's going to be days where you get up and you just.
Hey, what are you talking about?
I know, right? You just get up and you're like, oh, God, I just want to go back to bed. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've had laryngitis since like Thanksgiving, and I can't get rid of it because I talk all the time. And,
we're going to have to get our muzzle.
I know, right? It's just. It is something that you have to fight your way through if you're committed to what you're doing. And, my friends online have been like, oh, man, try this. Do this for laryngitis. Everybody's encouraging me. You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
I know.
So, it's those kind of things that happen throughout the day when you're working, especially if you're a solopreneur and working from home like I do. You have to have those relationships to propel you forward, because we're all going to have those days where our own mind wants to take us back.
Yep. Well, and so, it really, I know we're getting a bit long here. If we keep going, we will be. But so I want to kind of wrap this up in a nice, clean, concise thing for everybody. And just like I said, we're going to be doing this every day for the rest of this month in January, right? So everything that we want to be able to share with people is how can you smash your goals this year? How can you go out, take what you have said you wanted to accomplish, whatever that is, and go out and just knock it out of the ballpark? And a little bit, if you haven't watched the replays of the last videos or seen them live, please go back and watch the first couple about how to schedule and plan out your day, how to really prioritize certain things in your life that will really, really help you, good actionable things that you can implement, like starting today, to start getting better results out of your day and out of your month and quarter and year and all that stuff. And with what we're doing, what we're talking about with this, it really is all mindset stuff, and it's all about learning the principles of success are non-negotiable. Like, it's kind of like buying a pair of shoes. You go to a Foot Locker. If you want a pair of shoes, you don't wheel and deal with, and try to get this, a pair of Air Jordans that are $150. You're not like, hey, listen, give them to me for 30. I swear, I'll this, that, whatever. No, you're paying 150. The price for a pair of Air Jordans is $150. The price for success is X. And the only way to really figure that out is to find somebody who's got the results that you want and work with them. mentor under them, follow them, watch their live broadcasts, surround yourself with a community of people. And so once again, it goes back to figure out what is your definition of success. Get yourself plugged into books. Get yourself plugged into the right people on streaming media. Find the right Facebook groups of people to follow, communities to engage with, right? And then once you do that, you'll start to see the people that will stand out to you, the people that really resonate with you, the people that you want to take a relationship offline, like Wendy and I have done, and take it to the next level, right? And take that relationship to the next level, or at least have a conversation to see if it makes sense for you guys to be in each other's life on a more deep basis. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And guys, so we're going to wrap this up. We appreciate you joining us today for Breaking Barriers in Business. And we want to let you know that our next show, we're going to start breaking down how to talk to people on your social media. And I believe we're going to start with Facebook. So probably our next few shows, because it is a lot of information, we're going to break down a little bit on each social media platform, how to talk to people and bring people into your business and make those deeper connections. Just like we're saying, you've got to build up that network. And it's really important. So we hope you guys will join us. We're going to be putting this here on the Cash Life Academy YouTube channel, but we're also going to be putting it on Cash Life Mastery on Facebook. So make sure you're joining there and subscribing to both and getting notifications and all that wonderful stuff. And after this show is over, I'll be putting some links in for you guys to be able to connect with Chris. And I think that is it, Chris, unless I've forgotten something.
No, I think you basically covered it. Looking forward to it, guys. And because seriously, social media, Facebook specifically, is such an amazing way to find people, especially since Facebook has come out with Facebook Live and is really developing that platform. Facebook is probably the #1 way to meet somebody that isn't face-to-face engagement. Facebook and Periscope, but yeah, those two. So we'll get into it, guys. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be valuable. So look forward to seeing you there.
Okay, guys, have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye.
All right.